Now let's take a look at using Z Remesher to create our low-res base. So now that we've got kind of the basic shapes of this, we don't really have any details sculpted on this. We want to create a low-res so we can start kind of a traditional subdivision level type workflow here. So this Dynamesh is still on, so let's go ahead and just turn it off, and now it's all baked in. Okay, so if we take a look here in our subtool palette, we can hover over this and you can see we've got about 800,000 polygons, which is we don't really need all those, right? So, and we don't have any subdivision levels. So we want to create a nice clean mesh for this. And if we also take a look at the polyframe, so you can come up and turn on polyframe here or Shift F, you can see how high resolution it is, and also the edge flow doesn't flow with the detail that we have. So what we can do is use Z Remesher to create a new kind of low res. So let's grab this and open this up, and you can see we have a target polygon count, and right now it's set to 5. That's in thousands of polygons, and so that would be our target for our low res. So think about, we don't really need any high res yet because we can subdivide them to subdivision levels. So what do we want our low res to be? So we can try about 5 and see what that looks like. You also you have these little buttons down here where you can say, oh, I just want half or same or double. And we've got adaptive turned on, so depending on the detail that it has there, you'll get more polygons. So let's try this and see what it looks like. So we've got everything else off. I'm not going to keep the groups or the borders, so let's just choose Z Remesher. So it's going to go through that process of calculating this mesh, and it's going to look at the shapes and try to figure out the best topology for the particular shapes that we have. And we just have some very basic shapes right now, and we'll add a lot of the sculpted detail as we go through this process. We're just right now kind of rebuilding things. So you can see here, it's now rebuilt us a lower res mesh. We take a look at this, it's about 7,000. So with that adaptive turned on, you're not going to get the exact number that you put in, but you can see that the edges flow along with all the detail that we have here. Even around the eyes, you can see it's created geometry around those eyes. So this, I think, will serve as a good base for us to work from. You can experiment a little bit with, if you want to, with going a little bit lower, but I think that's good for us. Okay, if you want to go down to maybe 3,000 or 4,000, or maybe turn off adaptive, you can try that as well. But this, I think, will be kind of a good base. And once you get this base, you can start to come in now, and I've still got move selected. This is a brush that I'll use a lot at the very beginning stages here, just to come in and shape things. So I can come in here with this brow, and I'm not changing the topology, the edge flow at all. I'm just kind of adding a little bit of shape to this. So I also want kind of a mouth to come down here eventually. So I can kind of just use it to shape the model. And same thing here, if I want to kind of thicken up these sort of tentacles, I can come in and kind of shape those a little bit more. And anywhere that you feel like you need to add or modify the low res shape. So maybe I need to add a little shape to the shoulders. I can kind of smooth out the elbow a little bit, or maybe pull that out a little. Okay, maybe on the hips, there's kind of a point right there, so I can come in and kind of add a little bit more shape to the belly. So any kind of overall shaping that you want to do, you can do it with the move brush. Okay, you can also come down here along where the feet are, and we can start to add a little bit of kind of width to those feet. We can kind of bring them down a little bit so that's more of like a foot shape. Kind of pull that down a bit, maybe pull down the back of the heel down to the floor, just using that as kind of a base. Okay, so just spend a little bit of time with just the move brush, being very careful about moving things around. You don't want to move them around too much, but just kind of the shape of your head, kind of getting an indication of your, the skull structure inside of there, just on this low res bit here. Okay, we can kind of bring out the snout a little bit more. But without subdividing or anything, just use move and kind of get a little bit closer to the shape that you want. Okay, being very careful. You've got kind of a large draw size going on and you don't need to mess with anything else right now. Okay, so the next thing we'll do is when we start to sculpt the eyes, we're going to want to have some eye geometry in there. And so we'll take a look at how we can add new subtools, in this case eyes, to our model. So let's do that next.